All right, what's good, you guys? Welcome to today's trade recap. Today is October 2nd, 2025. I took one trade today. Was a dub. I was stopped out in profit, didn't hit full take profit. We'll go over that along with market structure. Here is my P&L on my Tradify accounts. And then here, let me show you guys my top steps so you guys don't think I'm capping. Here's my top step, 227 across those accounts as well. And we have 5 of those. Okay, so now that that's taken out the way, let's get into market structure, right? So coming into this morning, I literally just sent out the most basic fucking bias to the Discord. I literally just went on the hourly chart and said bullish, and that was it. Why? Well, because up until market open, what the fuck were we doing? Showing no signs of bearish structure at all, right? So I wanted to see some form of manipulation lower at market open, and then we can go higher. So what I was anticipating on is we either come into this fair value gap right here, this hourly, and we reject it and target these internal highs, which is technically all-time highs. Well, it is all-time highs. Or we can come down and take out these hourly lows along with this LR in here and create an SMT with yes. And we had that for a slight moment, and then price just continued to shit the bed all the way down towards London lows, which ended up being, or Asian lows, sorry, which ended up being this line right here. Okay, so at this point in time, we had a SMT with Asia lows. As you can see, Asia lows is all the way down here. Not only did we have an SMT, we also had a 15-minute fair value gap that we just filled, right? We filled this one right here, and we filled this final one right here as well. And I don't think there was anything on the 5-minute. Nope. So as of right now, we just have this Asia SMT along with the 15-minute fair value gap fill. And then what were our targets above? Well, we had a unfilled 5-minute right here. We had an unfilled 5-minute right here. Okay, and we also had another unfilled 5-minute right here. So when I first entered this trade, oh, here's my entry point. Hold on, give me 1 second, and I'll show you guys my executions in 1 moment. Okay, we had a 2-minute fair value gap right here, and then what ended up happening? Well, we ended up coming lower, and then we finally ran through it. And when we ran through the 2-minute, we also ran through this 1-minute for value gap as well. So that gave me further confirmation. I didn't like the closure all the way the fuck up here. So what did I do? I noticed, and this is from this is a screen time move right here. Instead of setting it at like BPR of this area, which is exactly what this blue gash is right here, or this blue rectangle, I actually set it just at the inversion. So typically I will either set it at the or I set it at the fair value gap. Sorry. Typically, I'll set it at the top of the inversion, which would be where this black line is right here. But what I've noticed is that price always, not always, but most of the time creates a fair value gap right after we invert something. So I started to set limit orders instead of at this inversion right here. I set it at the bottom of the 2-minute inversion, which was literally right here, right? And it was also inside of this 1-minute fair value gap. So this is just like over a course of however many fucking trades, thousands of trades I've noticed, like in this certain scenario, I didn't expect price to come all the way down to this inversion right here. If anything, I would just see it tap this 2-minute and maybe come into this 1-minute fair value gap. However, we did end up coming all the way down and actually hitting this inversion perfectly. So if you guys did set it at that inversion, you guys could have had a trade idea that looks something like this, and this was actually beautiful. You could have just targeted these internal highs, which stopped at these swing lows for a 1.14. So my original trade idea was to this unfilled 3-minute gap right here, which was right above the 5-minute, because I wanted better RR. Now you might be saying, give me 1 second. All right, let me just put this right here. You might be saying, well, Lo, you already have a 1-to-1. I don't know what happened, but when I first entered this trade, this was like negative RR. So I think I just might have missed the second 5-minute for value gap and set it to the 3-minute. So this is what the original trade idea looked like. It was a 1.42. And then this internal high was my break-even point, which was also the first 5-minute gap. We end up edging it, creating damn near equal highs, right? So I'm still not break-even yet. And then we trend higher, trend higher, trend higher. So now at this point in time, I'm break even. My stops are right here. And then we'll there was also a 15-minute fair value gap that ended up opening up right at this same level right here. As you guys see, 10 a.m. opened right here. 10 a.m. opened low into this gap. So we got a 10 a.m. open low to help further our bearish sentiment, at least to these unfilled gaps right here, right? So once I seen this 15-minute open up, I was like, okay, my stops are at break even right now. If this next candle continues higher, I'm going to trail my stops aggressively. Why? Because now we're inside of a 15-minute gap, and this is what it looks like right here. Here is our 15-minute fair value gap, just giant fucking fair value gap right here, right? So I was like, okay, my stops are at break even. If I get stops at break even, whatever. But if we continue higher, I'm going to trail my shit. So at this point in time, I ended up trailing my stops to right here. And I believe that is where I ended up getting stopped out. Yeah, so I ended up getting stopped out right here. So the actual trade idea looks something like this. And you guys are going to make fun of me, negative RR trader. I mean, I'm still up $2,000 on the day. And what did we end up doing after this? Well, we essentially just chopped around. Right? So before I go, I got a question in my Discord asking about 1019 shorts, which would be right here. So the reason I believe these shorts are invalid, because just look at how price is moving, right? We're just chopping around. If you actually zoom out to the 5-minute, like, what is this price action, right? It's just wick central. Yeah, the setup probably did present itself, which it did, right? We had this internal SMT with the 1-minute version, but look at these candles and look at how we are moving, right? This candle is fucking like 9 points. This candle is 14 points. Like, these aren't big candles after we just dumped, what, 150 points at market open. So typically when we do that, we'll just, yeah, 160 points at market open. Typically when we make a giant move like that, we'll just chop around for the rest of the session, and then typically PM will pick up. There was this continuation short right here. Where is it? That actually happened when I was inside of my long trade. We had this clear manipulation higher, right? We also had an internal SMT with these highs right here. And then what do we get? We got a big leg down, indicating that, okay, we might want to go lower. But again, at this point in time, along with the other trade, the 1019 shorts, we still had this Asia SMT going against our bias, right? So we, at this point in time, we just have to look at the way price is moving. ES is just chopping sideways, and fucking NASDAQ is just generating liquidity. So even though, yes, our setup did present itself, let's look at actual market structure and be like, okay, these are most likely unprobable conditions. And they were, right? Because did this trade end up playing out? It looks good. But then what ended up happening? You would have ended up getting stopped out right here if you had your stops at the swing highs. And then what ended up happening if you guys entered this trade as well? Also a stop out. Why? Because it's just unprobable price conditions. And that's what we really have to like look at the end of the day, right? Even though our setup did present itself, look at the way price is actually moving. I get it, we're generating liquidity, but at that specific point in time, we still had, yeah, I get it, Asian lows was right there, and ES probably wanted to take those out, but at that specific point in time, there was still an SMT going against our bias. So just unprobable conditions overall, and that's why those didn't end up working. However, I would say this 1006 setup was like an A, and then this one would be like a B+. Okay, so that is the reason why those didn't work. I hope that answered your questions. If you guys still have further questions, just leave them in the comments, or go ahead and DM me on any app.